There is a lot of debate that came out when the government decided to donate serves to cultural leaders. Giving serves to cultural leaders was not the issue, but the way how they were given to them, by parading them, okay, by reducing them in terms of their respect. You clearly see that there was a motive, a political motive in this. A lot of debate surrounded the Buganda kingdom because the Buganda kingdom was not part of those cars. It refused to go to those cars. Yet, Minister Betty Among came out to say that they converted them to monetary terms to be given to the kingdom, and the kingdom came out to deny this. So in this episode, I've come to talk about the narrative behind the serves which were given to cultural leaders, what it means for our politics, and most importantly, the study materials we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagali. There's a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, for cultural leaders to get serves from government is not the issue, but the way it was manifested, you clearly see that there was a political motive. In politics, nothing is done by mistake. Normally, General MUSEVENI has mastered the art of playing politics using cultural leaders. Under by our constitution, cultural leaders are not supposed to be partisan in politics. But I've seen cultural leaders endorsing General Kaguta Museveni. Imagine if they are doing the same to the opposition. Giving them these cars, it was a motive to reduce their respect. And I was so heartbroken when I saw the Chabazingo of Usoga coming out to get these cars. But I understand very many cultural leaders don't break out in terms of their finances. Remember, since last year, there was a salary increment from 5 million to 60 million, which was given to cultural leaders. And it's only Buganda Kingdom that refused the salary. Because when you allow your cultural leader to be part and parcel of those things, then he has to play the tune of the dictator. It's the truth. In fact, for any cultural entity to thrive, there must be some sacrifice. That's the truth. There must be some sacrifice. In fact, by Buganda refusing these entities, these monies, the salaries, and the cars, it sacrifices for a long term, because now it cannot dance on the tunes of the regime. Imagine if a cultural leader, let me say from Bugisu, is given those cousins and is told something by the government. Of course he will do. Okay? The way they parade them, for me, if it wasn't politics, those cars would have been picked by government and taken to the respective cultural kingdoms, not parading those cultural leaders, because in our African culture, cultural leaders are taken as the highest, are taken in the highest spirit. In fact, the Minister of Gender, Betty Among, said this about the Uganda Kingdom, which later the Uganda Kingdom denied. Here's a tape.
They indicated that government or any other person cannot facilitate their king with a vehicle. So we have given them the money for all the accumulated financial year plus the vehicle, and we have handed the check to them. They now know how they are going to utilize that money. That
is Among. On the contrary, the Uganda Kingdom came out to say that they never received the monetary terms. They never received the cars in the monetary terms. The Uganda spokesperson came out and said this. Okay? In fact, he said these statements.
Tetunaba kuzifuna era singa tubadde tuzifunye twandibadde tutegeeza bannayuganda Buganda bonna nti ssente zazze eza kino era zigenda kukola ku kintu bwekiti ne bwekiti. Enteekateeka ey'okugabira abakulembeze ab'ennono entambula tubadde situnagimanyaako era tugirabidde ku mawulire nga tulaba emmotoka ekkololo ezigabiddwa, naye ng'Obwakabaka enteekateeka eyo tetunnagimanyaako.
That is the Buganda spokesperson. And for me, I was even talking to Basogas. Basoga were heartbroken to see their kings because a king is seen in self-esteem. It's the reason as to why, as a person, I pray that we get federalism, because federal uplifts the culture, the regions to be self-sustaining. A car worth 300 million or 400 million cannot bring the full king to come and be paraded in Kololo. But I understand some cultural institutions are so weak. They are poor. They don't have assets. They don't have income to sustain them. So I understand. And as they become poor, even General MUSEVENI uses this trick to antagonize and control them. I keep on telling people that it's only the Buganda kingdom that stands out. It's only the Buganda kingdom that can stand on two legs and tell government where it goes wrong. For example, when the government came out during the protest and killed people, it's only the Buganda kingdom in a solitary voice that came out to condemn government. Other institutions can't. Do you know why? Because they survive on government. Okay? It's only a self-sustaining entity that can stand up for its own people. So these cultural leaders should understand that sometimes you need to sacrifice for your people to gain. It's the matter of fact. How can you tell me that the whole Chabazing of Busoga, by the way, is so rich where electricity comes from, they have land, that it comes out to be paraded, to be just given two serves worth 800 million. 800 million can be gotten by the government.
Gender team is itching for a photo with. I request the deputy mufti to join the photo, and Reverend. Yes, Reverend, please. Opportunity after all these processes to go there and visit them and have your ID processed.
But also, that's how General MUSEVENI is. Remember, it's the same person who paid school fees for the Chabazinga. So he will have to control the entity. The Katuki of Busoga is still a government employee. I think the chairman of the Uganda Investment Authority, if I'm not mistaken, is a board member. So you'll have to play with government. In the Buganda Kingdom, no one works in government and works in the Buganda Kingdom. You either have to relinquish your job in the central government to come and work in the kingdom, so that the kingdom pays you. So it's only Buganda Kingdom that can stand out to the bully General Kaguta Museveni, but also to be self-sustaining. I'm not here to castigate those cultural institutions, because some of these cultural institutions, by the way, need these serves and the salary, because some of them are so poor. But we must now talk about federalism, because federalism uplifts people. You look at the United Arab Emirates. It has 7 federal states: Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Dhul Kaima, etc. But each is self-sustaining. Until Ugandans understand that the process of federalism is when we shall be able to uplift our regions. Of course, that's my opinion. I remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi, Kabizi Sulaiman Mawagali, MP Makinde East Constituency, the next MP for Makinde East Constituency 2026. I'll see you on another one. Peace.
Yes, Kabizi Sulaiman Mawagali. I am putting in my request to fly the NUP flag high in Makinde East Constituency, so that I can represent the great people of Makinde East. Nkomyewo omulundi ogwokubiri n'obwongo nga bwesera nga busera. Ebiwandiiko byange mbirese bibino.
nsigadde nze Mr. Makindi Kabuye Sulaiman Mawagali kantu ene guno omukisa okubategeeza mbu ngenda kwesimba okuwa MP Makindi East 2026 nesimbawo lubi era nkomawo bataata bamaama basenga bajjajja okubasaba akalulu. Makindi East ediridde nnyo emabega okumala emyaka 2 okuva omugenzi Sebana we yagenda. Yensonga lwaki buli mukulembeze ajja tumuwayo ekisanja kimu kubanga tukola ensobi. Akulembeza Makindi East okumalenga emyaka 15 buli ba ranking abakulembeze abakozi mu parliament abatacyasinze kwogera babeera mu abiri abasemba. Ebyo bintu birina okwogerwa. Twetaaga omukulembeze ng'alina obwongo nga bwesera nga busera. Twetaaga omukulembeze nga fighter si bano bajooka. Bw'obanga ogenda saabalira ku mazzi ne baleeta eryato ly'ebbumba ne baleeta ne speed boat tosobola kukwata lyato lya bbumba ogenda osaabale kubanga lijja kunywa amazzi obbire bassebo ne bannyabo. Oba olina kulondawo speed boat efubutuka kaweewo ekusomese mangu. Nze Kabuye Sulaiman Mawagali nze speed boat bannaye munonde muninnye nsooke mbasaabaze ku speed ey'ekizungirizi. Eddoboozi lyaffe libadde teriwulirwa kyekiseera mu 2026 mulonde nze kamwa kwogera Kabuye Sulaiman Mawagali ayina eddoboozi eryamwanguka ajoyimirira ku parliament ayanje ensonga mu beesimbyewo bonna bassebo ne bannyabo teri ansinga kwanja nsonga. Abaneesimbyeko bonna baneegomba olw'engeri gye njogeramu olw'engeri gye nnambika ensonga gw'oba okiwakana eno YouTube yange sooka ogiraba ogifollowing ogisharing olayo ne video eziriko engeri gye nnambika ensonga. Kuba mwaka faananyi nga ndi ku floor ya parliament nga ngamba Mr. Speaker sa wa Madam Speaker sa waliwo asobola ogaana okuwulira. So mu 2026 tetukola era ne mulundo omulala atali Kabuye Sulaiman Mawagali. Musibe bulungi mweraba. Peace.
Mpala na wala kusaba kimuze mpala na bulungi waji abampala no bulungi nange benjagala obulungi.